Hello guys, welcome back or welcome if you're new. It's Christian from Emotions in Wine. Today I talk about my best wines of 2025. I had majority during the videos, one or two outside of those. Of course, it's wines that I drank, so I'm not talking about worldwide or very famous. As you know, if you follow, we are focused on some regions and more niche boutique products, and as much as possible indigenous varieties, so lesser known grapes also. So majority will be that. Interesting because I picked all the best, and if you are interested to know more, then there will be the links below of all the videos done. Of course, one or two are not because there was no video. So let's start. Here there is about quality, about emotions, about the moments, a lot of things come into play. It's not absolute terms. Second, I consider also the price because the wine can be very good, but much less than others. But if it's costing half, for me, it's still an amazing wine because we need always to consider also QPR. It's not just the quality overall, because if a wine is costing 1,000 euros, must be good. So we start with something more in this concept. Guido Marcella Fiano di Avellino 2022 was springtime. It was a tasting of Fianos, and I heard about this guy before. Actually, this is really one of the best Fiano I've ever had. Only still aging, but he does fine lees and long aging and also bottle refinement. So he's a bit particular, high altitude. He's at the top of his appellation, so he's really special, and he's really focused on that. Small quantities, few hectares, and the value, because I think it's about 25 euros, if I well remember. So the quality of this wine, the complexity, he considers Fiano one of the best grapes in Italy. I tend to agree, especially in this kind of expression. So it was really surprised and emotional. Of course, not outstanding complexity and overall level of ratings, let's say, but for 25 euros, an outstanding wine. And anyway, with the crazy longevity, it was a bit of surprise also that, because this 22 was still fresh, can age very well. So that was a nice surprise. Many will be surprises, some no, because of course I knew before. We stay in Campania region, so still Italy for now. This is Quinto Decimo Giallo Darles Greco di Tuffo 22 vintage. So same vintage, the other famous grape of Campania, which for me is very underrated still. Quinto Decimo is already one of the top estates in South Italy. As I said in that video, for me is the next icon winery. And they use oak. He is a professor of enology. He was even in Burgundy. So he is a big guy in the wine scene. And this winery was born 20 years ago, something like that. So he created his jewel. And he's doing a great job. I know him a long time. This is really one of my very best white wines overall, not just this year, even in the longer term. He's one of my, for sure, one of my best white wines from Italy. Complexity, finesse, harmony, everything. And good aging potential. But of course, he's drinking already well. This is expensive. This is more 45, 50 euros. It's already something very premium. So one of my very best white wines. So staying on one of the very best, we go to Hungary, Tokaj, Lenkei, Uragya is a single vineyard, is a blend of Ashlevel and Furmint, 2018. If you follow, you know that this is one of my friends' winery. We connected a lot. The guy is really focused, very tiny, making organic, even further than that, and crazy wines, interpreting. He's really an artist. This was the first time he made so he harvested in the same moment the two grapes from the same vineyard, which is not usual because usually you pick in different moments. So he saw that way. He made this wine with a touch of oak, used ones, with an aging capacity incredible, released 18 in this year, so it's still on the shelf, let's say, and can age several years more. This is really about complexity, depth, one of my very best white wines of the year. I love his wines in general, but this is probably his flagship, at least in the last period. So in the Lenke case, it's also about feelings. I connected with him really, so probably I feel even more what is behind the bottle, as I repeat many times. When you know it, you have a different approach even to the wine. So that is something that has a big role. Maybe another bottle that I don't know will be the same level, but I will still consider this one more because I know what is behind, my feelings, my emotions. So we go back to Italy. Etna Bianco, Palmento Costanzo is the winery. Etna Bianco, Contrada Santo Spirito, so it's a single vineyard, 2020. 12 alcohol only. This was a big surprise, probably the biggest of the year, because I didn't try before, I heard about, but even seeing the alcohol, I thought it would be easier, even if it's a cru. Instead, finesse, complexity, the use of oak, and so well balanced in this perfect window when I drank it. Everything on spot. This was just recently, a few months ago. So, outstanding, really putting it between the top ones. It's expensive because in Etna, unfortunately, is the hottest region, so it's already quite high, the pricing. But 40 something euros worth for the quality. So it's one of the best white wines I had from Etna for sure, and seriously one of the best white wines I had from Italy recently. So a great surprise. Here, no video. This was something on the special moments. If you know us, you follow us, Bire, you know, is the famous winery making Grk in Corčula in Croatia. We did a video interview recently, and this is their the Fora, so the single vineyard, famous top wine. I didn't make the video because this I drank with Montia when she came to join me last summer, and so was all the atmosphere behind the wine. But this is one of the very best white wines from Croatia. This is confirmed by others also, not just myself. So basically, as you can also see, that steep, rocky slope facing the seaside, higher altitude, that is the only plot where this wine comes from, unlike the rest of Gurk. So they started to make it several years ago at the beginning, rarely. Now they make almost every year a couple of thousand bottles. Aging oak, bigger Slavonian oak. So a lot of Gurk is already expressive, freshness, minerality, saltiness given from the sea. In this case, there is much more, also with a touch of spiciness, huge complexity, a bit more body. So an impressive wine, really food friendly in this case. Is not, while others you can ship themselves, this is more important. So impressive indeed. And also the special moment we had. It's expensive because we bought from the winery at around 50, if I remember. In shops you find even higher, so it's not an easy pick, but something to try, like the other one from Corčula, but this is Poship, Krajancic. Recently the video about his wines. So it's a recent taste. It was the first time I tried. This is his Poship 22 Surly, so oaks. Krajancic is the godfather of Poship in Corčula. Him and Bire were the two first main names who started in the 90s. He was a bit bigger than Bire. Now maybe they are similar size. And this is his top notch. I define it as a competitor of Burgundy, no doubt. And here the price is very good. So in this case, if we have to consider value per price, is something more than beer because beer is more expensive. This is just 32, 35 in Croatia. So outstanding finesse, very delicate. The use of oak completely integrated, like rarely I find. Similar to the Etna, but a step up. his experience also. So really also a surprise, but expected because I knew the winery and some of his wines, but quite impressive. So we start with the reds. Again, Etna in Sicily, Gracchi, Etna Rosso, Single Vineyard, Arcuria, 2018. So we had one old white wine. Now we start with some older red wines, which of course give more complexity. This was the key of this one. Was the perfect drinking window. Gracchi is one of the famous names. The Cru is one of the regular, is not one of the most famous. But the perfect drinking window, the complexity, it showed much more the next day. As you know, if you follow, when are important wine, especially age, I do the next day. And this was one of the perfect picks to try the next day. Much more to show. Tertiary notes, impressive. I didn't have that aged. I had before. I had several Cru, I know quite well Etna, but this remains one of the best, at least in the timing that I drank it. So that, of course, is important because you can have an amazing wine, especially with the reds. But if you drink it too early, you will not enjoy it. So that is another point of the emotions in picking the right moment to open a bottle. So this was perfect. Still aging potential, but was perfect after 7 years and gave me really a lot. Back to Croatia, this time in northern Mesha, Primošten area, so Šibenik Knin region, Grazin. This is really a recent video about the Babić grape, which is the second most important red in Croatia. Is the most elegant wine. There was another that was in the other video, Pergin, which I find it even a touch more elegant than Grazin. Grazin is the symbol there in the area, but Grazin has a bit more complexity, so that's why the peak finish here. So this is Babić 21. Unlike Plavas or other Croatian wines, this is still more gentle. Silky tannin, less deep, less structured, more Pinot Noirish in a way. He's using barriques, so give a bit more complexity, but perfect use with the spiciness, etc. Of course, 21, not much complexity of the tertiary notes, but already some earthiness and olives, so it was quite outstanding, even in the complexity besides the elegance. So it's a recommended red wine, especially if you are a Pinot Noir guy or Nebbiolo guy from Croatia. Back to Italy, Sardinia this time. So as you can see, majority are Italy and Croatia. These are the countries that we talk about more. Few exceptions. Sardinia, Sant'Adi, Roccarubia, Carignano del Sulcis 2020, Riserva. So this is a gem. As I explained in the video, Carignan in Spain, Carignano in Sardinia, seems it found the perfect spot, the perfect terroir in this Sulcis area, which is really in the bottom southwest of Sardinia. Mostly sandy, but in some cases can be clay limestone, but near the beach is really sandy. And also pre-phylloxera, many odd. So really a special situation in everything. This is really about the story behind the wines. And the value for money there is unbelievable. This was just 20 some euros. Sorry, just 20 some euros. White age, complexity, elegance. Carignan usually has deep color, not in Sardinia. Usually tannic, not in their case, very silky. Even some tertiary notes, so already drinking well, even if just 5 years old. So really, value for money, probably the best red, because it's an unbeatable price for the quality. This is their second wine, so that is the cooperative, very famous. They have a flagship, and this is their second. A great confirmation, because I knew it from the old days. Now we are on the more structured and powerful. So far the reds more on the elegant and gentle style. So Plavas Maestor from Stina Winery, 2019. So this is in Brač Island, that big island near Hvar in front of Split, more or less. So in middle Dalmatia. They are the most representative winery there, and this is their second level of Plavatsmali, aged longer in barriques, long maceration. This is something characteristic because Plavatsmali is structured, and they do also long maceration, so it's quite rich, even intense color, all that you expect from Plavatsmali, but it was surprising the next day, because the first day I was not impressed. It was a bit closed, need years, this kind of wine, even with that power structure, but the next day it showed up a lot. So the complexity is incredible. The steep slopes where these vineyards are is all rocky, so probably deep-rooted plants giving really complexity to the wine. And the winemaking contributes also to make it like that. So this is a perfect wine for lamb, big beef, but that you have to enjoy in longer term unless you can buy another bottle, which is not easy because I think now it's 19 or 20. Otherwise, you need to stock it. It's really affordable because it's just 30 plus euros. Then they have a super one, 60 or something like that. But this is the medium range, perfect. A great surprise. And we finish with something very top, very famous, Barolo. So this is Massolino, one of the very famous in Serralunga d'Alba. Barolo Parafada, so single vineyard, 2014. So the oldest bottle we had. Not the best vintage, but the winery is super. The vineyard is quite interesting, even if it's not as famous because it's quite small. In Serralunga is the coolest part. Their style is also on finesse, complexity, really everything on point. Yes, not the best vintage, so I didn't expect that would be incredible, but it was amazing. The drinking window perfect, so the timing even this time, everything on point, and showing step by step the other characteristics and finesse really and delicate, nothing too much evident like, for example, can be in the Plavatsmali. So really, the epitome of finesse from a one safe address in Barolo, not crazy expensive, by the way, because this is around 60 euros, so still very affordable for a serious Barolo. I know that not many are into these wines, but if you have a bit of knowledge, a bit of experience, and you like things not too heavy, not the Cabernet things, you like more Pinot Noir or Grenache or things like that, a good Barolo will impress you, at least if it's age. The problem is that many times you drink too young, then it's too harsh. But here everything on point, silky, gentle, so was outstanding with all the handicap of the vintage that was very average. So emotional stuff, great quality, many great values, because many, as you've seen, even around 30 euros or less. So I picked wisely because I always want to propose things that are drinkable, not that you need to break the bank to buy. So next year we'll see. Enjoy whatever you can drink during the holiday season. Thank you. Like, subscribe, comment, please. Help us to grow. And see you next time. Salute.